All right, look forward to that. All right, weather-wise out there, let's turn our attention back to 28 years ago today. We saw the costliest, or one of the costliest hailstorms on record. It was Mayfest in Fort Worth, May 5th, 1995. Car windshields were smashed. Hundreds of people were injured as softball-sized hail fell across the Metroplex. Several people lost their lives in flash flooding as well. So let's get over to meteorologist Mario Ruiz. You're talking more about that, looking back at that storm that a lot of us remember.
Absolutely. And I want to start off by showing you radar. Radar has evolved since the mid-90s, but we still look at it very similar. And we're pointing out where Mayfest was located there, that festival in Tarrant County. Now, this was around the time where it did impact Mayfest. Softball-sized hail, you can see high reflectivity there, but eventually this ended up going into Dallas County, providing for very heavy rainfall, leading to flash flooding in and around the Dallas area. So for Tarrant County, some of the impacts 28 years ago was the softball-sized hail. It did struck Mayfest with over 10,000 people in attendance, so really high populated area. And this caused over 400 injuries. 60 of those were actually serious. But one of the things that came out of the Mayfest hailstorm was that it improved communications with emergency management and the National Weather Service. Now, when we have events that are highly populated, the National Weather Service actually does brief emergency management days leading up to any event, and on days of, if there is going to be that potential, they're obviously in constant communication. And that storm ended up going into Dallas County. Rainfall rates of 2.25 inches in 15 minutes. That's what caused the flash flooding. Unfortunately, people did drive into this flooding, and it led to 15 flood-related fatalities, 2 fatalities from lightning and 2 from roof collapses. 1 fatality was reported in Tarrant County. And hundreds of cars sustained hail and water damage, and to this day, one of the costliest on record. So just a few of the numbers here. Like I mentioned, there were at least 16 deaths from this, but $2 billion in damages. And we did the math, converted it to today's numbers, and that's equal to about $3.3 billion. So still, yeah, carriage aside there, it's just crazy how much money because of that hail and the flooding. Now, at the time, it was the costliest hailstorm. There have been a couple more in the early 2000s that have surpassed those numbers, but still just crazy to think back. And now there are lots of, now there are lots of preparedness that leads up to the event. So it's just much more safer. But unfortunately, to think back 28 years ago, Mark.
Oh, I remember that day. Ooh, it was costly for the Istook family. Hey, 5:40 this morning.